agriculture, education, nursing.
I can't imagine having gone through this and figuring out how raising newborn without ChatGPT.
All colors of the work rainbow, and of course, entertainment. And the thing is, when these companies aren't employing the latest bubbling money English to wage wars across the world, they wage wars of information through the net, using misinformation as their weapon. And when the humans refuse to do the dirty job that they assigned them to, they just replace them with AI. Yeah, we're truly speedrunning it to the plot of 2077, aren't we? And somehow, Resident Evil Requiem has something to do with it. This is Bellular News. We've checked on the channel before, so let's give him a look.
Something really bad has just started happening on the internet. It could deceive you, and it actually begins with Resident Evil Requiem, though it's not its fault. It's one of the best reviewed games of the year. I've been hooked on it. It's absolutely fantastic. Even the harshest of reviews mostly just wonder if it's a bit
According to some of the
uneven.
older Eremites,
In the words
it does
of
actually rain in the desert on occasion. And when it does, it's always a lot heavier than
Quote,
this.
if you haven't checked the pre-order bonuses yet, you might want to commit, which is
Oh, hold on a minute. It ties up 3 decades of loose ends with the precision of a laser sight and the subtlety of a rocket launcher. If this doesn't sound like fucking AI, then I don't know what does. This is straight up doo-doo already. Now, of course, we have the preconception of this being written by AI, but anybody who starts phrasing things this way, no. And also, you might want to commit. What? The game is out. Available now on almost every platform. This is the glorious finale? Oh my god, of course. Yeah. Yeah, that's a dead giveaway.
a very odd thing to say. Who knows, maybe the reviewer, Brian Marigold, doesn't have English as a first language. Maybe he was having a bad day and the editors simply just didn't catch it. But the thing is, the whole review is really odd. There's actually not much engagement with, well, the content of Requiem. It almost feels like it's written by someone who just looked at other people's reviews. But here's the thing, that's actually incorrect. It's incorrect
Scrapping.
because this was not made by a someone. The entity behind it is called Brian Marigold. But the thing is, Brian Marigold is not a real human. All this was flagged by Andres Aquino, who by the way is a real person and did actually review Resident Evil Requiem. He was checking the critical consensus when he found Video Gamer's review. Now here's the thing, Video Gamer isn't some tiny...
Oh boy. Can you imagine this? Because this is of course a thing that a lot of creative are experiencing across the field. Andre here, who is working in the arts and entertainment, and is likely the type of person who is going to see his job being threatened by this tech and threatened to be replaced because some company wanted just to adjust their profit margin, and just see this thing being perpetuated through a once reputable site. Ugh. Such a shame.
Site. It's a UK game site that has existed for years, and it's trusted enough to be a Metacritic. But this review is clearly a fake review. It's seemingly just been cobbled together using previews and the language model.
I'm sorry, we need to read through this real quick.
Review. It seems
Tales of Two Nightmares. Put in the classic music. The genius here lies to playing as Leon Kennedy feels like slipping into an old, trustworthy leather jacket. Specifically, one armed with a tactical shotgun and a bad attitude. What? His segments are pure third-person catharsis, refining the parry and kick rhythm of RE4 Remake into a violent ballet that rewards aggression. That's a lot of word salad. It sounds like a person who's trying way too hard, but of course we know he's a machine. But he continues. Then the game rudely shoves you into the perspective of Grace Ashcroft, and the power fantasy evaporates. Grace's section shifts to first-person dread, which of course you can change. You can play in third person as Grace. evoking the raw helplessness of early survival horror in a way that feels beautifully cruel. It is a stark design philosophy that honestly shouldn't work, yet it creates a rhythm of tension and release that is masterful. We've seen this before. God damn it, Alan Wake. With Saga and Alan's the shift between those two characters. It's the execution that is good. That's all there is to it. Frankly, switching between head-popping action and hiding in covers gave us whiplash. But the good thing, you aren't just surviving, you are learning two entirely different languages of fear. This has nothing truly to do with gameplay. That's the thing. This is like a formulation of like summaries. You know, if you ever have to write an essay, you get like the abstracts at the start. Yeah, it's like a combination of a multitude of abstract that the language model just scrapped and put together and formulated this. I guess that at the first glance, any person who just looks for confirmation bias when looking at a game might find this appealing. But then again, this is for the masses, people who might not truly care about a deep dive.
This realm is truly beginning to thrive. I cannot help but be stirred.
Previews and a language model. And functionally, it is worthless. It doesn't describe the experience of playing the game or anything meaningful to the reader. It's completely hollow, as is the writer, because Brian Marigold is an attempt to fake a writer. He even has a profile, and it's bizarre. It claims he's got a master's degree in English Lit from the University of Sussex. Brian's even got an X account, though it is blank, and we can...
It's the same picture. Oh, wow. I mean, I have a similar amount of followers, okay, on social media because I barely hang in there. I pretty much only use it for the purposes of sometimes making videos to gather information. But the uncanniness, for which I know, of course,
If you ever have...
these models are getting better and even more confusing. I've been fooled myself sometime when watching videos that turn out to be AI, especially of cats. It has become insanely good at rendering animals. It's frightening. But still, to this day, the uncanniness of the images that are generated, they have this clean, polished, kind of... They still have that cartoonish vibe to them. They don't look real. No pores, no true blemishes on anything. They're too perfect. And that's obviously an issue.
can see plenty of reviews and articles attributed to him on Video Gamer. Though curiously, there are even more attributed to him that are about online casinos.
Gambling, of course.
This is all quite weird, but it does make sense when you read his background and you see, quote, an experienced iGaming and sports betting analyst. But then...
Oh, it's so much worse. It's gambling sites. But of course that makes perfect sense when the majority of what sites like this are used for is to create SEO traffic, search engine optimization. And what better than relying on a design for an apparatus that captures that small percentage of people that are desperate enough to both have the points affirmed, right, reinforced in the things the thing that they're searching for reviews, and add on to that a perhaps history of addiction, or if we're being kind of kind here, a predisposition to falling into this kind of traps, and you have yourself a money-making machine.
You look at Brian Marigold's profile picture, where the file name is ChatGPT image October 20, 2025. Because yeah, it does actually seem like most of Video Gamer's current staff are fake people. They are Gen AI creations that are faking the operation of a real website, and certainly a website that actually used to be real with real writers. So we now have fake writers at a real site who have been given a simulacrum of existence, all in an attempt to get around the most obvious failings of Gen AI.
Yeah.
Obviously, nobody believes it. Do you know who especially doesn't believe it? Google. If you're truly in the know, you may be thinking about
Glorbo.
Right now. You see, back in 2023, we highlighted the coming of Glorbo, a massive spiritual event for the entire world. But in reality, it was a World of Warcraft community's attempt to troll sites like Z-League and The Portal.
Yeah, I didn't follow through the whole story, but I cut some snippet of it because at the time I already stopped playing World of Warcraft. But yeah, I remember this.
Which were basically all fake, by creating Reddit threads about fake characters and fake events. You see, those sites were SEO farms. They basically just scrape what people were talking about on Reddit. They'd then generate an article and publish the article to drive search traffic, ideally to, apps, advertising, that kind of thing. Back then, it was so pathetically obvious that it was mostly just a joke. But this time round, it is a little bit different because it's happening with a real outlet. It's happening with video gaming. Real outlets have got fact checks. They have editors. They have recommendations. All of these things that make you think, probably won't publish exposure. And implicit in that is that that's wrong, they should fix it because they want you to come back. Honestly, sites like Z-League and Portal are things that you've never heard of, don't trust, and, don't have any history. That means they right? They don't appear at the top.
Yeah, they get at the bottom.
See, Google search algorithms are supposed to be favoring actual authored content. So real writers and an editorial history.
You asked for it.
But don't believe it. Hey.
And that would mean that a scraper can't just farm whatever the current talked about game is to get to the top of Google and get a bunch of quick money for exploiting a system rather than providing something of value. But a site with a long legacy absolutely can do that. And that is why this fake review ended up on Metacritic and impacted the score for this game. Now, it's not there anymore, thankfully.
No.
Metacritic told Eurogamer that they will never include an AI-generated review, and that if they discover one, the cost is removal and severing ties with the outlet while they investigate. Which is good. As much as reducing reviews to scores is frustrating for nuance, Metacritic does at least
it is helpful
to the people who do care about the reviews. But it all flags up a kind of spooky truth and a bit of a new world that we're entering here. We are now beyond articles filled with regurgitated or scraped information, like the Glorbo stuff. We're now seeing companies purchase established websites, fire the human staff, and then replace them with Gen AI content, and then hide behind that legacy, hide behind the brand name that they acquired to disguise all of this, even going as far as to create full profiles for these fake writers. It's pretty bad, it's not speculation,
and it's lazy.
Buckle up!
No, don't get me wrong, they should not do this, okay? I don't want to see this ever. But you can tell, you can bloody tell when you look at it.
And now it's time to talk about the whole corporate story behind it. What I'm going to talk about isn't speculation, it is the account of staff who used to work at Video Gamer, the account of real humans. So, whenever ClickOut acquired the site and took over, they started doing gambling and casino coverage. Loads of the staff left in protest, and it was odd to see a site called Video Gamer that we know for video games
got replaced by AI.
Video game and online casino news.
Of course, this is the direction in which to. Dude, I'm so sorry. It is incredibly sad how we've gotten so deep into gambling, because clearly, given the site here being a UK-based one, it is not solely an American thing, but I have an American perspective on this because this has stuff that I've researched in the past. The implementation of such things as a sin tax, the way in which you could tax people who didn't want to pay taxes. Lotteries was founded the American Revolution. The mother-flipping Simpsons made an episode joking about the bear tax.
Mr. Mayor, I hate to break it to you, but your city is infested with bears. Bear patrol tax $5. What? This is an outrage!
Gambling has been such a monumental thing for corporations and for the states as well, especially for the US government, where they could get tax revenue. from gambling.
When you look at all the tax revenue possible, states legalizing this, there's some incentivizing.
That coupled with, Adrian, like Paul alluded to, that this is considered gaming, not gambling. So that tends to be the caveat.
Like, these things used to be illegal, by the way. They were highly frowned upon. But, of course, in today's day and age, we have 41 out of the 50 United States have brick-and-mortar casinos wherein they're going to be taking that revenue. And, of course, the change to digital is going to facilitate this extraction with all of the online betting and prediction apps, which is such a sneaky thing to do because you lose money either way. You didn't want to pay taxes, sure, but the money is still going to train AI models owned by the state that are going to exploit your data and then still like galvanize things that are curated to target you through the data that they collected on you. Like, bruv, there used to be a time where such things as the NFL, back in 2005, where they were banning such outlet like NBC from trying to advertise on them in Vegas. Vegas! Because the idea was that association with gambling will hurt the league's credibility. Like, how low have we fallen? Today, though, because of the massive benefits that this has given some people, which not all of it is bad. I'm certain that some people are going to know example of how freaking gambling revenue was used to create roads and or support schools.
For example, the ocean state, Rhode Island, they collect 51% of revenue from each bet. The other states use the revenue to target specific services. In Montana, it goes to fund STEM scholarship funds. In Illinois, it's specifically directed to fund improvements to roads and schools. And in Colorado, it goes towards the state's water conservation plan. And you may not be surprised to learn this, that Uncle Sam also is getting his cut. There is a federal tax to every bet of about 0.25% that also goes to a federal fund.
I'm editing the video, so I'm certain that I'm going to be finding some examples to try to keep it fair. But the beneficial aspect is clearly not what they're aiming for here. It's to create wage slavery for the actual workers and or get the boot and you get replaced by AI.
Just felt odd, but you can kind of see why. I have to imagine that ads and casino content pay out pretty well. Now, one of these writers, Max Nickel, claims that she was supposed to write the Resident Evil 9 review for the site, but then she was laid off alongside most of the other editors and staff back in February. Now, that is when Video Gamer's corporate owner, Clickout Media, decided to lay off most of their editorial staff. Not just at Video Gamer, but also at Esports Insider and The Escapist. After forcing many of those staff to sign NDAs in order to get their severance, they basically just replaced them with some AI-generated stuff. But not completely new AI-gen stuff. It's stuff that they were already doing to pump out loads of casino recommendations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is really weird, isn't it?
This is why they're using those old... Oh my god.
And the only way they could expect their casino editors to do well is, of course, the legacy of these sites. And that means that, say, videogamer.com can actually pull off this Gen AI bullshit business model in a way that some random site that somebody just started up yesterday to do a grift, well, fundamentally couldn't.
Let's get it on!
For fuck's sake, man, I used to pick up these magazines that had their name on them at my local library.
Levels of banditry actually do go deeper. So this news website here is Adventure Gamers. It's operated since 1998 and it was bought out last year. Now, its forum archives have got more than 2 decades of niche information from people passionate about those games that have all now been wiped because the site has refocused to being about online slots and casinos.
Are you shitting me?
All right, let's finish this
Here
match.
comes another.
Show no mercy.
I don't believe anybody has actually drawn any of these things. Some retouching. Oh, okay.
Here comes the
Copia is an actual game.
Here comes
PC.
Take a deep breath and grit your teeth.
Another.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Knock him down. All eyes on you.
When
Take a look behind the veil! Take a look behind the veil! My wait was not in vain.
This is exactly what you would expect if you went to AdventureGamer.com. And what we see is that company after company, the pattern is the same. Buy a legacy site, fire all the staff, and
puppet it.
Puppet the corpse. And ClickOut are not the
With
only
AI.
group doing this. There are companies like Valnet who buy up sites, fire everyone, and then retain an endless tide of new writers paying
Let's open up. Good fire. Here comes another. Thunderclap!
Show no mercy. You two.
time.
Because they have to work in an SEO fashion now.
Take a deep breath and grit your teeth.
Here comes another.
That's it. That's the same thing I said before. Wait,
Buckle up.
don't be shit.
Fire in the hole. Take a look behind the veil. Open fire. My wait was not in vain.
No, quality doesn't matter. This is why I'm always so bloody hesitant when it comes to actually talking about video games and video game reviews, and whenever there is even a would-be drama about a game. Obviously, we are to hold companies accountable when they push out heinous practices, but at the same time, we ought to maintain the what's the word I'm looking for here? The nuance between things, because two things can be true at the same time. We have creatives that get wronged, and they lose their bloody job. And it's not their fault that they need employment. They need to work on something, and it is oftentimes not their fault that there's some bloody higher up that decide to make a stupid business decision that then fires all of the studio and or now news outlet to replace them with AI because they need to adjust for their profit margin. Like, whenever I'm hearing stuff about bad gaming journalism, my initial thought as a person who has taught before in schools is, how is the actual work environment for the journalist? Just like how he explains now, are they incentivized just to put out things for clicks in the same way that some content creators will do on YouTube, which ends up biting them in the arse because they are supposed to be held at a higher standard? Or do they actually put in the time to make up great articles, play the game through correctly and get paid for doing so? And don't get me wrong, what I'm saying that is not to put any blame on the players, not the consumers, okay? It should not be, okay, that's the thing here. It should not be our responsibility to undertake the task of making the industry at large be better. But much like the people who end up making the regulation, they kind of have to do that and pass bills because people have agreed on it. Bills are being voted on. And adults now of age who can vote, if they want to see the world not turn into Cyberpunk 2077, ought to kind of play a bigger role. That's why we are urging so many people to do something, to take act with something like the Stop Killing Games initiative, which was highly successful, and we need to do more of that.
I'm hesitant to blame those writers because the same thing that limits, say, the Portal and, Glorbo and all of that from exploiting SEO is actually what pressures all of the humans into working in a very SEO-friendly way. They essentially have to now. That's why you see guides across so many sites as one little example. So what we're seeing is very little traction on high-effort, like unique original reporting, and basically just the press and formalized structured outlets with meaningful backing kind of being pressured like never before on so many different fronts. And we have an example of that from the very same week the Resi 9 review was published. VGC revealed that Ziff Davis is laying off most of the editorial staff at Eurogamer and at the YouTube outlet Outside Xbox. And of course...
No. Fuck this. I missed that channel. I haven't watched content from them in a while. They are the ones, James and, oh my god, what's her name? The funny one. James. Wait, what the fuck am I saying? I'm confusing them with the Funhouse crew. No, that's Jane. Yes, Jane, Douglas, Andy, and Mike. Those are the ones.
This was not the first round. All of these sites were acquired in 2024 when the previous owner, ReadPop, just wanted out of the media business. And, well, these sites have just been cut and cut and cut since. It's a good thing the Digital Foundry just got out and got to be independent. Holy shit. Now, the people who have been gutted by all of this, well, some of them are...
Oh, can you imagine your game testing? If they just were like, okay, now we're gonna let NVIDIA's AI tool run the test. Fake frame up the wazoo. Oh.
Trying to fight back. We've got outlets like VGC and Aftermath that have sprung up as kind of independent, user-funded alternatives, some being free of advertising and all the SEO mandates that would otherwise just have them pumping out guides until they literally die. Now, Aftermath, in the days after this news broke, they published a long-form investigative reporting on the sheer scale of what ClickOut has done. They have interviews with former staff. They have loads of evidence. Now, that is the kind of reporting that's valuable, but that's hard to publish anywhere else because it isn't guaranteed clicks in a world.
Yeah, now they have to push these kind of things through freaking sites like X, where any of the crypto bros are also going to try and downplay this situation because heard Elon and his AI tool is helping me. I need to make something clear. I know that I have a rather hard stance on when it comes to AI, but I do understand that there are people out there who could use that responsibly and who do that purely for entertainment purposes. I don't fault you for doing that. I would too if that was something that I personally fancied. But there are like ethical boundaries to the uses of these things, and this one is clearly one that has gone way past the line.
Article content is primarily distributed via the likes of like Google search algorithm, you just can't really get traction and stuff like that. But the thing is, these independent outlets don't have the scale or the structural backing of the institutions that they came from. And of course, if the writers who powered a lot of these institutions are gone, then, well, we've got shells that just got left behind for the likes of ClickOut to acquire and then roll their way into in many cases by just pumping out loads of AI bullshit and trying to obfuscate it by making up fake writers with fake degrees from universities that they never went to. It's absolute peak banditry that is preying on all of the systems that are causing the issues we've got with online published content. But most importantly, it's preying on you. Resident Evil Requiem is the kind of game that is very good for this type of fake review, because it's a highly previewed game, there's a whole series worth of writing to steal from, and the likelihood that someone would have a good experience with the game regardless of the review, because the game is bloody brilliant. Now, if it hadn't have been, then someone might have bought the game and wasted their time on something they really shouldn't have, because they believed the review looked like a real review, but actually was fake. Basically, because they put their trust in someone who doesn't exist. And, you know, they were tricked because it was made to look like it was done by someone who exists. And the worry is that the more of these fakes happen, the more the informational space just gets polluted and polluted and polluted. That is bad for truth. I guess what it all comes down to here is trust, and how everything is leading to a future where trust is just going to be in short supply. When you read or watch a review, you are taking someone else's opinion and considering it for how you plan to spend your valuable time and often your valuable money.
This is why there's such a huge emphasis on actual gameplay, you know? Sometimes you hear people say something about a game that sounds like fucking ridiculous. Like, hey, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you spend 50 hours on a game that you fucking hate with all of your heart? Then you go on to play the game and then you find out that, oh, there was an element in it that they just didn't like having fucking Christian in eugenics. The issue is, however, that a lot of people who are having to either distract themselves and or being very consumerist about things may not have the time to go through an entire stream and or form themselves an opinion. And so perhaps if they still read again do people actually read? If they have the attention span to do that, they end up then stumbling on something that is just falsity. Yeah, as he says, trust is going to be harder because you can't just implicitly think that somebody is right just because they have a good reputation. That really sucks. That really sucks.
A review represents someone trying to communicate their experience with you. Even if you disagree with them, you trust that they're earnestly trying to do that. But Brian Marigold cannot communicate with you.
No, he does
Brian
not think.
Marigold doesn't exist. It's a pile of generated text designed only to manipulate online systems and get your attention. You cannot trust it. It is literally designed to deceive you. This is bad. This is not something that can continue. And if you're looking for something or someone to blame, I would say it's the likes of Valnet and the likes of Clickout. They are just bandits. For years and years they've been doing their banditry, and now that they have access to new tools, they have new ways to practice banditry.
Yep.
Fuck them, and I'll see you in the next video.
That's it. It's not that the issue has never existed and AI became like the thing that brought it to light. No, but these things have been around, just like I said, the thing with gambling is something that dates all the way back for the United States, the founding of the country. Very, very important to have gotten it there. But now, of course, not even the thing that you use for escapism is safe from that. And that really sucks, and we need to do something about it. I hope that we get more politicians who are in it for the right things in the future, because that's important. But great reporting on the part of Belula here. This was very good, and I'm not going to apologize for my rambling, because these things are a part of a bigger problem that is kind of hard to just contain to just the gambling part and the SEO and the website. But I hope that through my commentary you also got to learn certain things and leave this video with more knowledge. That being said, folks, thank you so much for watching, and see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Soldier, the lead-poisoned fighter of the Badlands, from the country that doesn't know what a kilometer is. In my opinion, the best class for new players. Unlike this guy, why is this guy's not working properly, what the fuck? Soldier's strength is his high versatility in combat, having both good single target and crowd control damage, alongside air mobility with rocket jumping. He's very well-rounded, and with that, the classes he counters are none of them. That might sound bad, but the flip side of that is that no class counters him either. Meaning you're just as likely to die to all of them, and it's your fault. This is what I meant when I said he was highly versatile. There's no specific class that is really good at killing him. As a new player, this will give you a fair amount of interaction with all the other classes, and you'll learn how they all work, and may even decide to play them after dying to them a couple times. While skills like rocket jumping may take a long time to master, Soldier's base weapons are easy to understand on a fundamental level, making him easy to pick up. It's not like Soldier is the only class that's easy to pick up either, but those classes have more defined weaknesses against particular classes. He's still a good class to learn how to play, as he gives a good view of how the game works as a whole, even if you end up maining something else or become yet another Soldier main. And when learning how to play Soldier, let's take a look at his primary weapon, Big Flying Big Boom Projectile. This thing fires rockets that travel in a straight line and explode on contact. Thanks, Jonto, for explaining the sky is blue. Your teammates cannot be hurt by your rockets, but you can should you be caught in the explosion. While direct hits are obviously ideal for dealing the most damage, you can shoot at surfaces near enemy players to hurt them with splash. This isn't just useful for if your aim isn't good yet either. The explosion allows you to damage groups of players, you can use it to hit someone around a corner you can't even see, you can use it to launch the enemy, but relying on splash damage isn't always an option. They may be on high ground with no nearby walls to shoot, and the soldier has no way of suddenly gaining vertical speed. Oh, wait a minute! As great as splash damage is, you can't always rely on it. The enemy may be on high ground or straight up airborne, as well as the fact direct hits deal the most damage. You will still want to learn to hit directs, and that involves predicting where an enemy will be as you account for the travel time of the rocket. Essentially, despite its simplicity, there are a lot of ways you can use this thing, but keep in mind it's not your only weapon. You also come equipped with a shotgun. It fires a spread of pellets. Basically, video game shotgun. The shotgun is useful as a quick finisher for a hurt player trying to dodge rockets, a backup for when your rocket launcher is reloading or out of ammo completely, a quick instant follow-up to a rocket launcher attack, a way to attack someone at point blank without dealing self-damage, or because of them. More on that later. But it's still a good sidearm you have for when you need it. And then there's his melee weapon, which deals 65 damage with an 0.8 second attack interval just like other stock melees. But back to the rocket launcher. There is another key part of this thing that I've barely touched upon, and you probably know what it is. The technique that turns Soldier from a grounded, slow-moving grunt into an explosive, soaring eagle of the skies. This is the technique that makes Soldier hard to master. It turns what is the class with the second slowest running speed into one of the most mobile classes in the game. And you've probably seen it yourself, whether in-game or through videos, with all the skill required to pull one of these tricks off. It may be complex, but it's still worth learning the first steps to being able to rocket jump. Look down, jump, crouch, then shoot a rocket at the ground all in quick succession, and yeah, that was it, seriously. You might have not had a great deal of control over where you were going, but that was, by all accounts, a rocket jump. And as should go without saying, where the rocket explodes relative to your position will affect the direction you get launched in. Directly at your feet will send you straight up, but anywhere else can be used to give you more horizontal distance.
Allow me to introduce myself again,
You can even
though you're
jump
probably
into
bored
a
of
wall,
hearing
then
it by
jump
now.
off the wall mid-flight.
I am
The reason you
Varka,
jump and crouch
Grand
beforehand is
Master
simply
of the
because
Knights of
doing that sends you
Favonius,
much further.
Mondstadt's
And speaking
Knight of
buttons you should be
Boreas.
pressing, I'll tell you
I'm
this
here to
now
fulfill the
because it'll help a ton
Favonian
in the long
pledge.
run, but
I swear by my sword,
you
you
are
shall not
airborne,
fall while I stand.
Hold W. I know, it sounds weird, and everything in your muscle memory says you should be holding W to go forward, but that messes up your ability to turn mid-air, otherwise known as air strafing. It's fine when you're grounded, but you need to break that bit of your muscle memory ASAP. Once you're in the air, see that W key? No you don't, it doesn't exist. As for air strafing, hold either A or D and slowly move your mouse in that direction. If done correctly, you will begin turning in that direction. Don't move the mouse too fast, as there is a limit to how fast you can turn. Being able to turn mid-air is obviously very helpful to control where you land even after you launch yourself. Though, speaking of launching yourself, we should address the explosive health risk in the room. Yeah. Rocket jumping isn't free, as doing so costs you health. In combat, it can be quite risky or straight up kill you if you're not careful. But when simply getting from spawn to the point quickly, it is less so. Especially if you remember where the health packs spawn and pick them up along the way. And of course, if you barely manage to survive your own rockets, sometimes the good old ground will be the thing to finish you off. Seriously, knowing where health packs are and playing around them is really important, as just like ammo, you need to treat health as a resource, one you spend when going for a rocket jump. Playing around health packs can allow you to quickly refund health lost from rocket jumping. It always takes 10 seconds for a health pack to respawn after being picked up. Playing around medics is also very helpful, as their overheal can sponge the damage from your next rocket jumps. In fact, they are an infinite source of health. And remember, rocket jumping isn't just to be flashy. It is genuinely useful in many situations. Getting across the map quicker, escaping a bad fight, getting to high ground, jumping over a group to bomb them from above, playing ragdoll theater, etc. In combat is where it becomes difficult to judge whether it is or is not worth going for a rocket jump. It could be worth it to reposition or just nuke out of a fight you don't think you'll win, but that loss in health might make you easier to kill. There's really no way to know for sure every time. You'll just get better at judging these situations as you get better at the game. Getting good at rocket jumping is a skill you just need to practice. And what I said here is only the beginner level stuff. There are many more in-depth guides to rocket jumping.
Which
and
way
even
will
custom maps
Boreas
known
blow
as jump
today?
maps, specifically designed to learn it. There are also other unlockable weapons that you may acquire through random drops that can affect not only rocket jumps, but other ways you play. The direct hit is an alternate rocket launcher that sacrifices most of its blast radius in favor of more direct damage and projectile speed. It's all in the name. The idea of this thing is to hit direct hits and rely less on splash damage. The bonus damage is enough to one-shot scouts, engineers, snipers, and spies, great in the hands of a skilled player, or at point blank where it becomes the best melee weapon in the game. But even then, it's good to consider that you'll still lose out on a lot of crowd control, and the reduced blast radius can mess with rocket jumps. The Rocket Jumper is a rocket launcher that sacrifices all of its damage. It literally does no damage. But that includes you as well, and yeah, the name makes it pretty obvious what this one is for. It's great for messing around and practicing rocket jumps, or to use with particular unconventional strategies. But do remember that you are sacrificing the power of the rocket launcher when using this. And seriously, do remember that this does 0 damage. Don't be one of those people who equipped it without reading its stats, like bringing a fish to a gunfight. Wait, what in God's name are you doing? Another option is to equip the gunboats. These take the slot of your shotgun instead and make you take 60% less self-damage. This is multiplied with the 40% resistance you get already, meaning 60% less of what remains of the self-damage. It doesn't just add to 100%. This is obviously great to be able to rocket jump more, but keep your rockets as a weapon. But this does sacrifice the shotgun in the process. You literally don't have a secondary weapon. And that can be a bit of a problem in certain situations. Then we have the man-treads. They share the same downside as the gunboats because the soldier can't wear shoes and use a shotgun at the same time. Is he stupid? But instead gives increased air control and the ability to Goomba stomp people. Increased air control means the limit to how fast you can turn mid-air is now drastically increased, allowing for much tighter turns and adjustments. There's also the base jumper, which is a parachute you can pull out mid-air, but be careful because it can make you an easy target with slow movement. Back on the topic of rocket launchers, there's a couple more to go over. The black box gives you health back when landing an attack at the cost of clip size, designed specifically for those players that can't seem to play without a medic girlfriend 24/7. The biggest bazooka lets you stuff it with rockets to vomit them all back out again in random directions, or just overload it and send yourself flying. The Cow Mangler has unlimited ammo and can even be charged to fire a shot that burns players and disables engineer buildings for a few seconds. But it has an 80% damage penalty against buildings as well as being unable to
The second
crit
knightly
properly.
virtue
The
is
airstrike has a damage
honesty.
and blast radius penalty, but gives
Deceitful
you
and
vastly
cunning words
increased
might
fire
win you
speed
the upper
while
hand in
rocket
a
jumping,
moment,
while also
but a
increasing your clip
victory
size
won by
for
the
every
blade
kill. The
never
Liberty Launcher
lies.
is just kind of there. I don't really know what it's for. And lucky last, the original. It's functionally identical to the stock rocket launcher, except it fires from the center of your screen instead of the right. So it's up to what you prefer, as both styles have their advantages. But at the end of the day, all these options for rocket launchers lean into specific playstyles or strategies. But if you just want a good all-round option, the stock rocket launcher you start out with is going to be your go-to. Yep, the one you start with is overall the most reliable primary. But back on the topic of secondaries, there are a couple shotgun variants as well. The Panic Attack is good for close-up burst damage, the Reserve Shooter is good at shooting people you launch into the air, and the Bison is one of the weakest weapons in the game. But we're still not done with the secondary slot, as there are also 3 banners. Each has a rage meter that is filled by dealing damage. Once full, it can be activated, giving a temporary buff to you and any teammates nearby, depending on which one you have equipped. The buff banner grants mini crit damage, the battalion's backup gives crit immunity and damage reduction, and the conch gives a speed boost and makes everyone affected heal when dealing damage. They also each give a passive effect to the soldier when equipped. The conch gives health regeneration, the backup gives 20 extra health, and the buff banner doesn't have a passive boost and is completely non-selfish. Passive effect or not, these are great supportive options for your team and obviously work best when used in a group. As for melees, well, the stock shovel is just kinda boring as there is very little reason to actually use it. But the unlockable melees provide their own utility with varying degrees of usefulness. I would say there are 3 kings of soldier melees. The escape plan increases movement speed at lower health, but marks you for death when you pull it out, making you take more damage. The disciplinary action can be used to hit teammates, which gives both of you a speed boost, making it really good for getting not only yourself, but other players to the front lines faster. And the Market Gardener gives crits while rocket jumping. It's not easy to land those crits, but the downside isn't a huge deal for a weapon you'll probably only pull out while rocket jumping. Those are the
Sure
three
feels
best
good to
melee
get away
options for
from
the
my
soldier,
desk.
depending on what you
Now,
want to
where's
use.
a good spot
As
for
the
a
other
nap?
three, well, one of them is just the escape plan, but it gives damage instead of speed, which will usually just get you killed faster. The Hasatoichi isn't super bad, but you really have to commit to a kill when pulling it out. And the Pain Train makes you take more damage just so you can capture objectives faster, something Scout already does, and he does better because he's actually fast. Anyway, that was all of Soldier's unlockable weapons. Some are better than others, some have their use cases, but it's good to know what you're bringing into battle. Your primary is the most impactful part of your loadout, with whatever secondary or melee you equip complementing it. You can use different loadouts depending on what strategies or playstyles you plan to use. You can have a generalist all-purpose loadout, a roamer playstyle that likes to rocket jump a lot, a more supportive loadout that sticks with their team, a sentry busting loadout, a meme strat loadout, or just the literal worst possible loadout on Soldier. But with Soldier's full arsenal in mind, let's talk about actually fighting each class. Scouts run fast, but also die fast. Blast damage can be useful to catch them, but remember, they can dodge or fade out shots by changing direction fast. Splash damage is more effective in smaller spaces, and as mentioned earlier, the direct hit is capable of killing a scout. When facing another American Patriot, remember they have splash damage just like you. Use corners and cover to minimize chances for them to hit you, or take the high ground and stay away from walls to deny splash damage entirely. Should they take the high ground themselves, you can rocket jump above them. Note that if an enemy soldier rocket jumps at you, you can try to hit them with an air shot by predicting their path. Pyro is a bit of a special case. They're weak at long range, but they also have something I neglected to mention up to this point. The air blast. This move is capable of deflecting your rockets, and is why you need to be careful when shooting rockets on a pyro. Granted, it still requires good timing of the pyro path. At close range, the rocket is too fast to react to, and the pyro is instead forced to predict it. There are many methods to counter air blast. Shooting around a corner can make it difficult to air blast it back at you, fire the rocket a second later to mess up the pyro's timing, or just straight up pull out the shotgun because they can't deflect it. This doesn't make pyro a counter to soldier, you just need to think of it before you shoot it, since deflected rockets are able to also hurt your teammates. Though sometimes the pyro just sucks at air blasting and misfires all of them. Dimmerman, like you, also uses a lot of projectiles. However, unlike you, lacks a hit scan secondary weapon, as that's a projectile too. Unlike your rockets, neither of their explosives automatically detonate upon contact with a wall, and are influenced by gravity, affecting their accuracy. Pay attention to their shots, they're most dangerous at medium range. Your shotgun can destroy their sticky bombs, but the rocket launcher only knocks them around. Keep your distance from them when possible. Heavy deals high sustained damage and is deadly to fight when caught out in the open. Have you ever rocket jumped into a revved up heavy? For some reason you seem to instantly die upon trying to do so. Although most miniguns make a sound when revved up, allowing you to know when to time attacks. But even when they are revved up, you can use what's known as corner peeking, taking advantage of your rocket's travel time to peek and hit them around a corner while limiting your exposure to their gun. Do note that rockets fire from the right side of your screen, usually, so trying to do this to the left will just result in a self-made firework display for the heavy player. The engineer himself isn't built that much for combat, but don't underestimate the power of the shotgun. You're more likely to struggle with the sentry gun he can conjure. The sentry takes a brief second to lock on, so corner peeking is also effective against the sentry, or attacking it outside of its range. The direct hit also deals bonus damage to buildings. Similar to heavy, don't try to rocket jump into a sentry. Their auto aim will just turn you into Swiss cheese. Just kill him. He doesn't have a medical license, so it's not a war crime. That helmet of yours may as well be made of styrofoam because it only takes a somewhat charged headshot to one-shot you. Either be careful of peeking no and sniper sightlines or move unpredictably. Rocket jumps can make you hard to hit due to sheer speed, but your movement can still be predicted by a skilled sniper should you move in a straight line. Snipers are tier 3 long-range attacks. If you're able to get close to them, they become very easy to kill. Turn around, really. This is coming from someone who main Spy. Spy preys on your complacency of not watching your back. Soldier is the jack of all trades when it comes to combat. Easy to pick up, hard to master, and a blast to play throughout, pun very much intended. Whether you become yet another soldier main or pick up a different class in the long run, he's great for beginners not just because he's easy to pick up, but you also get a good view of how the game works with all the other classes. So get in there, soldier. You may be brain damaged, but there are people to shoot for some reason. So go get him.
Weapons need regular maintenance. Take good care of them, and they'll take care of you when it matters most.
Because chat made me do it, we're going to be checking out what does ... make by Youth Pastor Ryan. I have absolutely no idea what we're getting into here. I've never seen this guy's channel. I'm being told it's companies making products, but I don't know where we're going on this one. If this is a good idea, cool. If this is going to scar me for life, well, it was suggested by YouTube, so that's usually how this goes. Oh, God.
There's no way the calculator people made the
Texas Instrument. What the... Wait. Aren't these the guys who make military weapons?
Javelin anti-tank weapon. Oh my gosh, they did. And it actually kind of makes sense. You see, Texas Instruments isn't actually the calculator people. They're the semiconductor and microprocessor people. And that's why this makes sense. Because every single Javelin...
Wait, they made... Oh, I thought they just happened to randomly buy the business, so it actually started differently?
Missile has 250 microprocessors on it, which make it do its really fancy...
$78,000? That missile costs how much? Okay.
The fly thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, most...
Also, I'm being told to skip the shorts compilation to make them redundant. Ah. And Rob mentioned every company makes war stuff. We're not surprised.
Anti-tank
You're right, I
rocket
probably
launchers
shouldn't be,
go
but
from
I
point A
am.
to point B in a straight line. Not the Javelin. It fires, goes straight up in the air, goes WWE from the top rope and lands on the top of the tank. And the reason why they did that is because tanks are way less armored at the top. They expected damage to come from the front and the side, so they armored those pieces. And they were like, nothing's ever going to come from above. Right, Javelin?
You're goddamn right.
So that's why it kind of makes sense that Texas Instruments designed the Javelin. And to be fair, when I hear the word Texas Instruments, this is mostly what I picture. And it makes me terrified of the Texas Orchestra.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. Oh, God. He's completely objectively right. That is a Texas orchestra. Oh, my God. Can you imagine what it sounds like? Hey, honey, I'm going to the symphony. Okay. Make sure to wipe the blood off. Oh, God. Let's try. You mentioned I need to check out Manny the Noodle Vintage Story lore. Yeah, I think you've mentioned that one. I just want to check out more Vintage Story in general.
Hey, General Electric, we're
trying to keep up.
Bud.
Okay, this one I do know. This, I think they did tanks, right?
I like things that spin.
Or was it propellers?
Aw, buddy, what spinning things have you made? Oh, you know, like washing machines and hydroelectric plants and jet engines, and then the Gatling guns to put on the jet engine.
Okay, I was unaware of that part. I knew the engines. I did not know about the Gatling gun.
Oh my lord, what does it shoot?
That's what big a Gatling gun is? You know, I was expecting those to be a lot smaller. I was wrong.
It fires this at 65 rounds a second. The little one, right? The little one? Nah, the big one, and it comes in explosive versions. General...
That's not General Electric, that's just... It's Fallout. That's General Atomics. Oh, that was the joke in General Atomics and Fallout. It's literally just GE. You know, I didn't realize that was a call-out, and now it makes sense.
Electric, what happens to the people? They become a red mist. That's why we have the washing machine. I like things that spin. Hey, Glock, what are you making, buddy?
I mean, Glock is literally the name of the gun. What else would they make?
And we make the 45, and the 9mm, and the 380, and the 22.
I'm sorry. Is that the German accent he's using? Is that the German accent he's using?
We make the 45, and the 9mm, and the 380, and the 22. Do you make anything that doesn't hurt things? Horse insemination.
What? You know, that is not where I thought this would go.
Come on, let's go. There's...
You know, I thought this would be like, oh, they're making things to kill me.
Now, where's a good spot for a nap?
You know, now when I hear a horse is packing, I am thinking something very different. Oh, okay, good. I actually laughed so hard there, I literally didn't get up there, I started lagging for a second. Okay. And my cats are standing in the doorway staring at me because apparently I just scared them.
Horse insemination.
Sparks, I said like that.
Eye contact, but why? My father always told me eye contact is an important part. No, I meant the other thing. How are they related at all? They're both about shooting things into other things. Gross.
Yeah.
Why? Because we like horses and we don't like people.
Yeah, I stand by this reasoning. That makes sense.
You ever met a horse you didn't like? No. You ever met a person you didn't like?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see.
Glock gets a pass on this one. Also, Croc, you mentioned you knew I would have that reaction. Yeah, you were correct, one.
Yeah, so just let me know if you want to make horses or remove people. I'm free till 5, so we got time. Hey, Mitsubishi, what do you make, buddy?
Isn't Mitsubishi they make motorcycles now, but didn't they explicitly make engines for planes in World War II?
I make things that share things with other people. Yeah, like what?
Share things?
We make cars and freezers that can share food with...
Wait, they make freezers? Unironically, I did not know that. I mean, I knew they did war shit, but I didn't realize they made freezers.
With other people, as well as escalators and elevators. We also make robots, which is cool. Cool, anything else?
I did not know about it. That is all brand new. Actual pro.
Just zero.
Up the ante!
Ironically, has 2 of a lot of...
Funny enough, this I knew about. I knew about the Zero. Yeah. This is a kamikaze plane that for some reason I knew about this before the rest of it. This is like, oh yeah, well, I knew about that. I did not know about escalators. Hell, I didn't even know they had branded escalators. Good thing it's not a Ford branded escalator. That would be more dangerous.
Thunder!
Hands off my Mora!
What?
Get to work!
What are those? Anime?
It's the internet. That makes sense.
Magical laugh!
And if you watch Japanese politics, a lot of them did as well. It's like, we never did anything wrong. Don't ask for comfort with this. If you know, where.
You made bud.
Oh, how long ago did this come out? You don't answer. Let's see, this is a year ago, and his compilations are even older? The answer to that is his patent at throwing things.
Fulfill our pact!
Successfully! In America! Throwing spheres!
Suffer the wrath of Easley!
The thing was in Final Fantasy VII, or all the Final Fantasy games. Before it.
We make video games and children's toys. From taxi cab service.
I know about the hotel only because it was a branding thing. I think this might even still be open. I'm not sure if it's run by Nintendo anymore.
Also used to make playing cards.
With a lot of the playing cards I didn't know about because they started off as a physical game. Honestly, though, the hotel scene is, I know a lot of people who tour them. One is Chris abroad. And yeah, they're weird. Also, kind of like visiting destinations to see how weird you can get. But unironically, the sheer thrill of seeing what someone with unlimited budget can do in a small location to make it absolutely batshit insane.
I could make a tidy
it's the one time
song
it was like, we're
selling
going to a
some
love
of
hotel.
this.
Where are you going to? There. You need to, go on. I was like, no. Bring cameras. Keep your clothes on. We're actually going to do something completely safe for work. It's weird, but a thing.
Love hotels used for?
Whatever the nice guys in suits that had money and also weapons wanted. But it was great because we could take them to the love hotels with our taxis and bring them back and help us sell our playing cards.
What was on the playing cards?
Nudes.
This doesn't still affect...
I was going to say something about how that doesn't seem like Nintendo's branding, but frankly, if you looked at what's available on Nintendo right now, it actually kind of fits. It doesn't even change that much. They're very okay with a lot of things that other people are not. Like Steam right now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, great. If you don't, I'm not explaining this on YouTube.
The things you make today for children, right?
Have you ever played Paper Mario or any Metroid game? We have an
Let the show begin.
If you give a Metroid game to a child, it's because you hate the child. Or you have some unreasonable expectation that they're competent enough to actually use the controls. Could go either way. Also, Structure makes a lot of electronics. And at your job, you're constantly using the branded PLCs and frequency regulators? I am not an electrician. Or good with electronics. I have no idea what any of those are. But they sound like things that if they're misused, will hurt you.
Smash.
Help protect us.
Please stop.
Okay, just one more thing. How do you get better Pokemon in the Pokemon games?
Well, you leave your Pokemon
Ditto.
at a hotel with Ditto, which you never have to take out because it'll breed with anything. And then you get a better... Oh,
well, that sounds like a love hotel to me.
I didn't realize that. Oh my god, it's correct. They actually just put love hotels in Pokemon. How did I never see this? Oh my god, I don't... It doesn't help that Pokemon games coming out of it's literally Ditto secret his trainer who started the game dying in front of it and becoming an eldritch abomination to make an island Animal Crossing style. None of what I said is a joke and is in the trailer promoting the game officially. Which means someone out there is aware of the general conception of Ditto, and I know I chose that word correctly. Yep. And Raw, you mentioned, who do you think are the people with the guns? Why? I'm assuming America.
I'm gonna need some playing cards for, solitaire.
hey,
It's a
Rolls
variation.
Royce, what do you make, buddy?
Also,
Yeah, we
engines.
make things that go vroom.
Yeah, the planes. The one time where you can say the plane might be cheaper than the car.
Yeah, like what?
We make luxury cars and airplane engines. We use those airplane engines to fight the Germans, but I mean, like, who didn't at that time? Also, we now make electric airplanes and submarines, which are...
They make electric airplanes? The submarines, wasn't really aware of that because I don't know anything about submarines, so sure, but I didn't even realize they had fully electric airplanes. I thought that was just a gimmick. I mean, now are they solar powered or just battery powered?
Try to keep up! Little tourist submarine? That sounds so fun and peaceful. Yes, fun, not peaceful. We make all of the UK's nuclear submarines. Burn!
Up the ante!
Okay, I'm good. I nearly said that. Don't worry. These are never actually going to hit anything. Almost got there. Almost got there.
Burn! Nuclear powered or nuclear armed? Both. Nuclear powered and nuclear armed. They are a nuclear family. How does that go vroom? Well, because the propellers go vroom, and when the nuclear missile launches...
Wait, they still use propellers? This is probably just more for the joke than anything else. A lot of them use impulsion engines where you're actually... Think of a Dyson, it's closer to that. No, not exactly, but it's kind of how it's theorized because the actual way to make those types go is a lot quieter and still secret. I'm assuming it's Dyson because they basically remove the propeller blades from the back of a lot of the newer ones because they're stealthier and they have less cavitation. The shaking water behind led from the effect. This is the best way I can explain it. I am not a scientist when it comes to this.
It goes vroom into the air, and then when people see a nuclear missile coming, they get in their cars and they go vroom to get away from that, and then when it hits the ground, it goes vroom. That's not vroom, that's boom. Ah, that makes sense. I'm gonna add that to the PowerPoint.
Oh my Ball, you still just make mason jars, right? But
oh. Okay, I'm gonna say something that will probably sound stupid. I didn't realize that was branding on those things. I thought it was some kind of stupid gimmicks like peace and love, ball, hugs. I thought it was just some random fun word they put on there. I didn't realize it was a corporation logo. This entire time, in more years I'm going to admit to, no idea. Cool.
Oh, we actually sold that part of the company. We don't do mason jars anymore. Oh, well, what do you guys make now? We still do canned packaging, aerospace engineering. We also have a new aluminum part.
That escalated
Sun's
a lot
out,
more than I
guns
expected.
out.
Is very recyclable,
Just
which we
sucks
think
that
is
I got
fun.
so much work to do.
Aerospace, that includes human-machine interface as well as lasers.
Okay, that's really cool. Human-machine interface? Like, are we talking like control schema or going full-on cyberpunk? Not exactly where I thought this company was going to go. It's not the most surprising one we've seen so far, but it's definitely up there.
that sounds like Skynet. What do you do with the human-machine interface?
Plug it.
We used it to help a quadriplegic race car driver drive race cars again. That's so...
Doesn't that just mean he has to turn left every now and again? I know what I said. I stand by it.
Nice! What do you do with the lasers?
Shutting down bad guys.
There it is.
Oh, so they're the ones making those weapons? For example, right now, the reason that the Navy is no longer doing railgun tests is because they're really freaking hard to not destroy the gun barrel in the process. And they're expensive. And they have so little storage because you can only get so many shots off. And then they have laser weapons, which is their power sources. Are you on a nuclear platform? If yes, the answer is you have enough power. And you can also turn it down just to cause bright lights to hit people in the face and blind them. Yeah, it comes with a non-lethal mode. With the non-lethal being permanently blinding people you don't like. Or aiming at their radar dishes to fuck them up. Or aiming with a little more power to really fuck up the laser radar dish. And, potentially just going bzzz, and laser pointering all of the incoming missiles away. Not as good against physical projectiles, though.
It can also defend against missiles. We can make you your own customizable satellite. We actually put
A
things on the
satellite?
Webb and Hubble telescope so we can see...
Wait, they did the James Webb?
Come over here.
The Mason Jar Company did the James Webb set? What?
Defend against missiles. We can make you your own customizable satellite. We actually put things on the Webb and Hubble telescope so we can see the...
Webb and Hubble. So that's not even a new thing. Hubble is old, man. Hey, Martin, the non-lethal is the laser pointer? Yeah, the funny thing is, when you have a laser, it points. And it's really good at timing it up.
alien enemies before they get here.
What if the aliens are friendly? They won't be. That's why we helped design the systems in the F-35. Please.
I mean, considering how often that plane crashes, it's like, it's a great thing until, you know, you have to use it. And then you really hope that it doesn't kill itself. The enemy will never take down an F-35, but it will beat itself to do it. It's like you can go into a fight and there might be 20% losses. Not a single one will be from enemy fire.
Stop. Go back to the happy helping quadriplegic people thing.
I mean, yeah, with the human-machine interface, we believe people of any ability will now be able to fight aliens.
We doubt